pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Our first order of business this evening would be to approve the minutes from March 11th. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
I have.
Yes.
Any additions or corrections?
None that I saw. I would make a motion to accept them as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I can second that.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes. Thank you. Additional appropriation transfer.
Can we go over?
If you don't mind, give us the
Okay.
notes, please.
So infraction deferral program, they did request $5,000. This is for their contract for flock cameras. We pay this every year. I did go ahead and put this in for $5,000. I did make a mistake in the advertising, but this is not a fund that is, it's a home rule fund. So we technically don't have to advertise it. I am, just for transparency, going to advertise the rest of it next month. But I accidentally advertised it for $2,400, and that's actually the fund number. So I am going to do the other $2,600. But if we could go ahead and approve the $5,000 for that contract today. And then this is something that I'll probably see if Dave will just budget in the future so that we won't have to do the advertising.
That'd be
Since
great.
it's an extra expense.
And I appreciate the new additional appropriation transfer sheet.
Yes.
Obviously, these but with a little more detail for us, just so we don't all have to inundate with questions and asking if they had met with you or, yeah. I appreciate all the details on that new form. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for the explanation there. I'll need a motion to approve the $5,000 from prosecutor deferral for the flock cameras.
I'll motion to approve that.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and then the other item is for property and liability insurance for $302,000. The county was hit very hard with a renewal. It has came to light that there were multiple quotes on that through the same broker. And this was the best quote, and I am proposing that the 302 is due to additional expenses for insurance for the sheriff's department and the jail, that we take that $302,000 from public safety.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Did we only have one broker bid on that, or?
It was one broker, but he ran it through a system to have multiple bids, and due to the jail and different court claims that have happened over the last couple of years, there were several that denied giving us a quote.
Okay. Okay.
And obviously, learning a lot from Mr. Solly's presentation, the commissioners meeting, whether somebody was in person or viewing that online. I'm just curious, since two of you are here today, did Mr. Little or Bramer, do either of you have any other follow-up questions that you all had for him, or any concerns, any questions? I mean, I know obviously it was a shock and unfortunate to commissioners when you first heard that information as well. I was just curious if you guys had any additional questions.
No. After the meeting, I mean, since then?
Correct.
Or
Yes,
at the
since-
meeting, I mean,
Both, and
he tried to comfort us by saying it was good
Mhm.
news, because some counties weren't
Counties,
getting
yeah.
insurance.
Yeah.
So,
And some jails were denied,
Right.
period. I guess if it hadn't been for the program that Ben had just enacted, where they have the, you know, the clock in, the timesheets and all that, that's what basically coerced them into taking us back again, so I guess it's the bad news, but that's the good news.
It is, so, just like multiple counties had to go to a self-funded health insurance several years ago, there is a push and there are counties that are going to a partially self-funded, property and liability insurance because this is a continuing problem across the state.
A lot of folks don't want to touch jails, do they?
So I mean, jails and buildings, because the deductible on buildings was 1% of their value.
1% of the value,
Was
so.
the deductible, so.
And that was for hail and wind damage. So if we had hail damage to the roof of the jail, our deductible would have been around $480,000 if we didn't do the additional policy for a buy down.
Seems to be a trend across insurance of doing the 1% versus $1,000 or $5,000 deductible.
It's the only way we can stay in business.
It's not gonna get any better after the fires and everything else.
I am curious to see if municipality, the city, they saw the same increase, obviously. They were looking to get creative since they were.
Fortunate for them, they don't have a jail to deal with.
Right, exactly.
Obviously, out there.
It would still have police liability,
Yes.
so that may be something to check into how their renewal comes in.
Any additional questions or concerns regarding the $302,000 for county property and liability insurance?
I'm just thankful we can get a policy. I would motion to approve $302,000 out of public safety.
Motion to a second.
I'll second.
All right, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And then the final item on our additionals is an additional resolution, which is 2025-006 for $307,000, which is the amounts that were just discussed.
I can make a motion to approve that, a combination of the 5,000 for the flock contract and the 302 for the property and liability resolution, 2025-006 for the amount of $307,000.
Motion to have a second.
I'll second it.
Motion second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Rather short agenda for this evening.
We do.
So with that, we'll move on to public comments. Anyone in the audience would like to speak this evening?
Can we get an update real quick?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Go ahead and try to type a little fast and put different screens a little bit. So just to get you up to speed and in case, because I'm sure you get questions. The two storms are going to be like, they're going to be, I'm not sure what the right word is going to be, is documented separately. So the 30th, 31st, and the 1st, that tornado system that went up through Indianapolis, saw that bit. That's when things started for us, and they didn't stop until just a couple days ago with the rain. So, but from what we're being instructed to document those days. But the state is looking at making that two separate weather events. I don't know why, but that's what that's the rumor that we're hearing anyway.
If it's two separate events, you have a higher number to hit on each one.
Yes, yeah, and that's really all, I know that's all we've talked about. And of course, I say capture all of it, of course, and we're in the middle of doing that. But the flooding event starts on the 2nd, and we're, of course, not to the end of it yet. We've had a shelter open for voluntary evacuees to get out of their places that were at risk of flood. And there's one family taking advantage of that since then. Made a lot of rounds talking to people trying to, hey, we got a place for you. So, it'll pay a hotel bill, all that business. Because I can't imagine, I always wondered why people don't leave during a big storm, a hurricane or whatever. And I can't imagine just packing up and going 2 states away. staying in a hotel for who knows how long and feeding a family of X number of people. So I understand why a lot of people choose to stay. But this was no cost, which was fantastic. The Red Cross has been great. I get check-in calls with them a couple times a day. I think we've put out, I want to say, close to 3,000 sandbags. And order some more from Indianapolis. The sheriff will pick those things up. We dispersed a lot to public. They were filling bags all day. We've still got a couple of thousand bags at the logistics building that are empty, waiting if we need them for some reason. They went and got, I think, 12 more pallets from Seymour, the distribution center. And a lot of that stuff, once they got filled and the city and the county got what they needed, then they released some of those to the public. So I think it was a pretty awesome thing for, to be able to pass some stuff out to those people who thought they were going to be at risk. So I've had a great relationship with the city and town of Hanover so far. Great information sharing all our business. I think the team is doing really well and kind of firing on all cylinders really for this one. So of course, countless trees down. It was all hands on deck, and roadways opened up, all that business. The county highway guys, city street system guys have been fantastic. When trees first started falling, all that stuff, I didn't realize how long it takes to get places. And I got behind the tree crews. We were trying to get to a house that had some damage and some trees on it when this first happened, and we literally cut our way through there. So between power lines down and trees down and all that stuff, it's a dangerous situation. It's crazy. I mentioned this not too long ago when we were pushing snow. If they slide off the road, something like that, somebody's got to dig, and they got to dig out from underneath the truck, hook it up with a chain, and pull it out. And just those guys do awesome things. And I'm glad they do what they do, and I'm certainly glad I do what I do. Let's see. So roadway closures, of course, 421 56 East is completely closed. That's why most of the county roads in the east end are shut down, because that leads down to State Road 56, and it's just covered. I caught the state highway where they're just putting barricades out yesterday. Went out and talked to, tried to coax a guy that had a couple of people in the house. He's had his mom and his girlfriend in the house. He was working on his car, and I tried to hey, I'll take you there now. We got to get out of here. Just another hour or two. You're in it to win it. And so they're like, yeah, we're staying. So I did have time to run out to logistics. I grabbed my like 5 or 6 boxes of MREs to take to them, so they have some food and stuff like that. Did get back out to them. They come out and got it. So glad to help them, but which would have been nice for them to come and take advantage of the shelter. Right now we are, River Stage is at 458.5. The crest is supposed to be 458.6. And I think at 8 o'clock tonight is when they're supposed to actually hit that number. It's not really going to move much for the next couple of days. We're not going to fall into the moderate stage, because we're in moderate stage now. I'm sorry. We're not going to fall into minor stage until Thursday. I think it may be 2 p.m. or 10 p.m. I can't remember which off the top of my head. And we won't fall out of action stage until Saturday. So that puts us about 51 foot. So it's like, hey, this call to action is like we're getting really close, and we start really getting stuff out and moving, making preparations. 53 gets us on Vaughn Drive, and then from there. We've been counting buildings the last couple of days about how much people it's going to take to get down to help us get those things mucked out, to get damage assessments done a lot bit. Collectively as a district, we're making arrangements for team members who have abilities to do this earlier than what we're going to have. I think Saturday sometime for us is probably going to be the best case scenario to get everything. We might go to be doing something as a river, recedes a little bit, but just how much we're going to get to do, I don't know. I know that Brooksburg is they're on their own out there right now. They're an island. There's a small campground weekend kind of place just a little bit east of Brooksburg, on the riverside. There was one family staying there that's like they ride it out. They've been doing it for a long time. They're pros, so they're in good shape. The crew down Hanover Beach, man, they're pros down there all the same. So everybody knows all that good. So in the process of collecting information, for public assistance, we track all the people, places, and things. Any equipment that we use, people's overtime. We track their daily time because of equipment that they're using. And then they'll pay out actual overtime for them. But the whole time that tool is assigned to them, as long as they're working, that'll pay that stuff out. And so all the road graders, all the dump trucks, all the police cars, all the ambulances, fire trucks, all those things like that, we're capturing the information to get that documented to send it up to Indianapolis. We have to hit a threshold of 154.5, maybe a little less than $155,000, and then that will grant us public assistance. We did that in the tornado, and I think we got like.
And that's through the state, right?
Yeah, that was a state declaration, yes. I don't know where we sit on a presidential declaration. I would imagine because we've had so much, in 97, there was a declaration, we're 1.5 feet away from that. So hopefully, I think a few states around seem like they're a little further ahead. I'm not sure like kind of how and why. Maybe they
And so
started
they
on
take
some
that as a county total, right?
Yes,
that we
yes,
submit?
yeah, that's us that we see it too. So we did that, and then I think the tornado that we had last year, I think we recovered like $80,000 maybe, if I remember.
And we should surpass that because we've got Crystal Beach Pool, we've got all the stuff downtown,
you name it all. So yeah.
along with all the residents in Brooksburg.
Yeah, that number I'm not worried about at all.
Yeah.
I just hope, I'm hopeful that this is going to be a presidential declaration and that they get to work and help things out and all that stuff. So I know.
But like Congresswoman said on Saturday when she was out on the east side of the county, she said it's better off if we try to go state first because once we get FEMA in here, sometimes it gets a little slower.
Yes. Yeah, that big wheel turned pretty slow.
Yeah.
So I am happy that we do have the opportunity to get our plan together and settled and sorted, and then we make the submission and then go from there. So we don't want to have any changes.
Yeah.
Make sure we didn't forget anything, make sure we got it all done and all that stuff. So I think we're capturing all the information. I'm meeting with fire departments tonight here, volunteer companies that are out in the county, and then we're going to walk through that paperwork about how to track people and all that stuff. It's crazy to think there's a difference in pay rate between a 12-inch chainsaw and a 16-inch chainsaw, but we want to make sure we capture that. If we're going to get a few more dollars for it, then we're going to get the right number in the right box and make sure we get it squared away. So, any
Do we
questions?
have any notes like left over from the 18 or the 97 flood that are going to be helpful to guide us through?
Well, I mean, I've looked through some of the things that's on the hard drive there. There is some information on it that forms have changed. So a lot of the information reflected then are different from now. I think we got a really good grasp on it, honestly.
Because if we're doing the 10-year cycle, so just trying to remember, how do we clean up, how do we get through it so quickly?
Yeah,
What
we
makes
talked
it
about doing that.
quicker
Yeah, pre-staging some dumpsters.
more efficient?
When we get the chance to do that, and we went, so since we have this lull of, all right, we can't do damage assessments, we can't get in to see buildings and houses and things like that, we're able to, all right, we need this many dumpsters at these many
Yes,
places and stuff like
absolutely.
that. So yes, we're in the middle of getting that done. We contacted a volunteer, they call them VOADs, I think the acronym is Volunteers After Disasters. They're gonna give us a number of people and we think they can get in to come help. I'm gonna submit a mission report in to get muck out buckets for families and stuff like that at homes. That VOAD group is.
Can I ask, just, because they're picking at me already. They want to know what muck out buckets are.
So it is a bucket of product to come in and clean out the muck that's gonna be in your house from the river. And I would say this, I don't know if anybody saw the video of captain's quarters.
We did. That was very interesting.
I mean, I wouldn't say go fill up your basement right now, but it's a pretty risky thing to say, but man, that guy, they got it figured out.
Yeah, he did.
They do.
That was very interesting.
Yes, yeah.
He's been through it a time too.
Yeah, he's.
I think if I
that's next
started
level
filling
right
up my
there.
cabin with water, it starts busting out the seams, It just starts bringing leaks. I
Yes.
don't think
Yeah.
it would work for me, but
I do know from experience at the regatta office, for instance, we've sandbagged that out in 18 and it got over it. And it's difficult to get stuff out because you have to get the bags out of the way. You're trapping the water in, so we're trying to trap water out. And if you don't get that done in time, then that stuff settles and man, it is almost like.
it's almost like
cement.
concrete.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it smells terrible.
Yeah.
It'll be smelly for a while.
No doubt. So-
But that muck out bucket, they'll really appreciate that.
The Kentucky River runoff, that's not gonna affect Jefferson County or Madison anyway, right?
No, I think there was a a tidbit of information that got really kind of blown out, and you're never sure how that happens, right? And to be honest with you, I feel sorry for the mayor in Carrollton, because man, you hear something like that, and I called our mayor and said, hey, I just heard this, so, you know, get social media posts ready and get ready to start setting off the sirens and telling everybody, get everybody out. And then did some verification, called down, talked to a friend of mine who works the operations desk at Boone Center in Kentucky. It's like our operations center at Indianapolis in this Capitol building. He said, yeah, no, it's a controlled release. You know, every dam does this stuff. At some point, there's enough water that they have to release some, because if not, it's gonna break the dam, and then we are gonna have this tsunami come down the river at us. So, but those guys have been doing this for, you know, hundreds of years, so they have it under control. I think it's just some bad information got misconstrued and was relayed the wrong way, and I'm glad we found out as quick as we found out to verify, so.
Would you wish there was a delete button when it's not true on social media? It could just be deleted like that?
It's a different world, you know, than it was in '97, right? You know, it's just, it's a different world. And, man, everybody's a meteorologist, everybody's a...
The only thing that worries me that, I think with some of our people that have decided to stick it out in their homes is that the waters are receding so slowly.
Yeah.
That, you know, like we were talking on, a lot of people that stayed just on the west side of the county. And when you have water that stays up that long, structural damage, you know, weakens the ground
Sure.
that those structures are in, and I just hope that those people made the right choice.
Yeah, we've had a couple of slide offs. I know Hanover Hill got a big slide off there. We've had a slip, I think, which the difference between that's above and below the roadway. The slip is much more expensive to fix than the slide. Because we're just gonna figure off the slide, but, so.
I just hope they have a way to contact someone if they need help.
Yeah, I hope so. And the people that we've seen, they've either had cell phones and ways to charge their phones in a lot of business. I know the sheriff's been out east a bunch, you know, checking on them down there. You know, there's a couple people that, you know, that have phones, so you can contact them on business to find out what they need. And I've got 8 skids of MREs if we had to start boating people and all that business. So I think we're in pretty good shape, honestly. I mean, I don't, you know, I would, yeah, for sure. So, you know, it's going to get really busy this weekend.
Yeah,
you know, but at
absolutely.
the end of the day, I think we're trying to keep up with everything and make sure that our plans and our actions for each day are purposeful and are making a difference. And I think the time we've had, we're able to do that really well. So
Appreciate all that you're doing, our first responders and the volunteers, because it takes everybody coming together through.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and I'm telling you, we have a good team. I mean, we really do. We've worked well together through this and even the tornado. So I think I think everybody should be happy. It's yeah. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anytime you hear anything, you have a phone number, just give me a call.
Yep, thanks, Matt.
Anyone else in the audience like to? Mr. Little?
I'm here partially commissioner and partly sheriff. Our animal control officer's truck died. And bottom line, transmission went out of it. It's got like 286,000 on it. It's a testimony to, it doesn't owe anybody a thing. Bottom line, he's gonna have a truck. He's riding with Janet right now. So the thought process was to find a good used truck. So what's the council's thoughts on that?
Almost an oxymoron these days, a good used truck is, if it's a good truck, nobody's turning loose of it.
Right,
I looked at a
exactly.
good used truck last week, it was $66,000. No, I'm not talking about that.
No, I'm just saying, other than that, one word.
Canvassed the locals, and 16, 18, and 20 was anywhere from 27 to 30,000 with 60, 70,000 miles. Now they had some that had 115, 120. We're right back in the
So
same
we don't want to put
boat.
ourselves back in that.
And the other option would be like maybe a lease purchase on a new truck. And don't,
Not with the miles he's driving, I mean, he's all over the place. The miles that he's driving out,
yeah,
no
it
kills.
never showed one days. I purchased one first.
New or probably sub 40,000 mile vehicle.
I mean, even government pricing, you're probably looking at 45, 47, I'm guessing.
Have you talked to Gary to see if he could find anything?
That's who I went to.
Okay,
That's where I got my first quote, so. It was a 16 with 76,000 miles on it, four-wheel drive, just a, plain truck.
And we're able to liquidate a couple of vehicles. We did updated inventory at the sheriff's department, but I'm gonna assume there's not an additional vehicle that's being unused at the sheriff's department.
Probably squad cars, but I don't think you.
Right,
Because you
would
can
need-
never use it for that again once, a day maybe, but if we're looking at 2 or 3 weeks, I don't think you want to destroy vehicles.
Any recommendations where the funds would come from? Really?
I
Talk
think,
to Heather about that, Heather, you can.
I think our only option is to do, an additional from lit or if you wanna call it public safety, but I think it's a little bit of a stretch. That lit would probably be the more, fitting source. And I can advertise for the next, and I can advertise high and then hopefully shoot low.
What'd you say your quote was on the 16?
27,850. Might be able to find something, but maybe not to exceed 30 or something like that.
Realistically, I was gonna say around 40 would be where we could set it there, and then where you could find something.
I'll advertise 40 and then,
Not to exceed, right?
yeah.
Council in agreement with that number.
Yes.
Unfortunately, if you looked at a new truck, you're not getting into a full-size truck for under mid-50s, and it's gonna be completely,
Nothing on it.
nothing. I mean, it probably won't be four-wheel drive at that price these days.
No.
So we're gonna make a motion in there, we just wanna wait and vote on next month.
I have to advertise it
Yes,
first.
advertise.
Well,
So,
sorry, so we got an informal agreement to the number, so we're good. All right.
And
Any-
speaking of next month, you did advertise the date of our meeting change.
yes. So the meeting will be 1 week after the normal time. So it'll be on the 3rd Tuesday, on the 20th.
Any other items from our audiences?
I can update the council and commissioners to know that the time clock is still a work in progress, but we now have all of the sheriff's department is clocking, all of the health department is clocking, everyone excluding the judge's office is clocking in the courthouse. Next week, we are taking on community corrections and probation. And that should wrap up because everyone else is now using the system. And
That's great.
there are some spots where we're still going through policy and making sure everything, we've never had to really think through policy the way that to program something. So we are still working on some things like that, but for the most part, it is going. Brittany has done an amazing job taking on that task, and Heather White, because it has been a very grueling task. But hopefully it will provide great information for even Matt whenever he goes to turn in this, the claim for FEMA. The other thing I was gonna update is I sent out an email saying State Board of Accounts would be coming soon for our 2024 audit, and then I received one this week, and they will be here tomorrow or Thursday. So they are here right now. So I just thought I'd let you know, because we'll have the opening conference to get everything going. But other than that, everything is going good.
Thank you very much for the update.
Yeah.
Anyone on the council have anything for this evening? Hearing Hearing nothing else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.